So, Artful recently got a pretty major stat rebalance in Die of Death, and honestly, after thinking about it for a while, I don't think these changes are entirely bad, but I also don't think they completely fix his problems either. Before the update, Artful had 10.5 walk speed, 26 sprint speed, 600 health, and 90 stamina. After the rebalance, his stats became 8.25 walk speed, 26.25 sprint speed, 725 health, and 100 stamina. Now, at first glance, this looks like a huge buff. More health means Artful survives longer. More stamina helps him stay active for longer during pressure and chase situations. And the small sprint speed increase helps with repositioning. But the most controversial change here is definitely the walk speed nerf. His walk speed went from 10.5 all the way down to 8.25, which now makes him slower while walking than regular civilians, since civilians normally have 10 walk speed and 26 sprint speed. And honestly, I understand both sides of this balancing change. Because yes, Artful's old stats had problems too. The old version of Artful could feel extremely vulnerable during standard chases. Even though the higher walk speed helped with positioning and setup gameplay, his lower health and stamina often made him feel like a sitting duck once survivors started pressuring him directly. And since Artful heavily depends on his abilities to control situations, getting caught without proper setup could feel horrible. His walls, music boxes, and repurpose mechanic are all utility-focused abilities, meaning a lot of his strength comes from preparation instead of raw aggression. So I can understand why the developers wanted to buff his survivability and endurance. But the thing that still confuses me is just how extreme the walk speed nerf actually was. Even other killers that are heavily chase-focused don't have walk speed this low. For example, Pursuer, a killer designed much more around direct aggression and chasing, still has around 9 walk speed. So seeing Artful, a setup-heavy utility killer, go even lower than that feels really strange to me. Because characters like Artful rely heavily on positioning, precision movement, and area control. He's literally a former civilian magician in the lore, not some unstoppable brute force killer. His gameplay identity always felt more focused on trickery and control rather than raw chase pressure, and that's why the walk speed nerf feels awkward. The old stats supported that strategic setup character identity better, while the new stats push him closer toward a middle ground bruiser style. And honestly, I think that's where Artful currently stands now. He's not weak anymore, but he also doesn't feel amazing either. Instead, he feels stuck somewhere in the middle. The buffs definitely made him more stable and less punishing to play during direct chases, but at the same time, the slower walk speed hurt some of the smoother positioning and setup gameplay that made him feel unique in the first place. So overall, I'd say this rebalance probably made Artful more balanced statistically, but maybe less specialized mechanically. And honestly, I'm curious to see whether future updates push him further into this middle ground playstyle, or bring back more of his original strategic identity. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on the Artful changes. Current state of Artful. Artful is still in a pretty decent spot overall, but if the developers really want to refine him further, he probably needs more focused buffs instead of massive stat changes. Right now, he feels stuck in a middle ground. Not weak, but not fully specialized either. The survivability buffs definitely helped him during direct chases. But some parts of his setup-focused identity feel weaker now. Movement changes. Instead of fully reverting, Artful back to his old movement stats. A better solution would probably be a middle ground. Possible changes: increase walk speed from 8.25 to around 9.25 or 9.5. Keep sprint speed at 26.25, keep stamina at 100. This would preserve the survivability buffs while making his setup gameplay feel smoother again. Why the walk speed nerf feels strange. Artful is a utility/setup killer focused around zoning, positioning, and controlling areas with abilities. Because of that, having one of the slowest walk speeds in the game feels awkward, especially when even chase-focused killers like Pursuer still have around 9 walk speed. Meanwhile, Artful, a setup-heavy magician character, somehow walks slower than some aggressive chase killers. Implement Wall. Instead of massively buffing stats, improving ability smoothness would help Artful much more. Possible buffs: slightly faster wall rise speed, earlier collision activation, smoother placement responsiveness. This would improve setup reliability without making him oppressive. And honestly, maybe they should just implement the implement faster. Copyright, music box. Copyright already fits Artful's identity well, but it could feel more rewarding. Possible buffs: slightly larger slow radius, faster activation time, brief reveal effect when survivors destroy it. These changes would reinforce his area control playstyle. Repurpose is probably Artful's most creative ability, and should reward smart gameplay more heavily. Possible buffs: slight cooldown reduction after successful usage, faster interaction responsiveness, better rewards for proper positioning. This would make skilled Artful gameplay feel more satisfying. And honestly, repurpose just needs more purpose. To repurpose your own purpose. Yeah, don't question that sentence too hard. Implement mobility interaction. Another interesting buff idea could involve Artful's walls directly. Currently, when Artful passes through his own wall, the wall takes 5 damage. So instead of only damaging the wall, Artful could also gain a temporary movement speed increase after passing through it. Example: passing through a wall deals 5 damage to it. Artful gains a +5 movement boost for 3 seconds. This would improve repositioning, setup flow, and overall movement smoothness. It would also indirectly benefit 2 of his utility-focused abilities, since Artful could rotate between setups more effectively. And honestly, repurpose would finally gain a repurposed purpose. Yeah, that sentence probably broke the English language.